YouTube. I got this little impatient tribe on YouTube who's like, okay, everybody, somebody always announces, he gets to the topic at the 19-minute and 45-second mark. Thank you for doing your job. I appreciate that, because I ain't going to stop going into the rants, because I think that somebody needs to rant. All of y'all should be ranting. If you ain't ranting about what's going on in Black America, then you must be brain dead. You definitely ain't woke. But then again, even the woke people think that wokeness means waking up and ranting and complaining all day. No, full wokeness means stepping forward and engaging in constructive action. It also means understanding how economics works in this country. If you don't understand economics in America, you don't understand America. If you don't understand economics and money in America and wealth, then you don't understand how to obtain power in America. Right? Now, oh man, wow, my boy Dre just sent me a picture from his wedding. I literally just got this. Oh, they look so beautiful. Let me jump into the one of the topics here. Okay, so I read the story on the Griot about this mom in Georgia who has a viral Facebook post, and in this post, this mother named Essence Evans, who's seeking to, make long-term plans for her child, which I think is awesome. She's got a daughter, and she's planning for her daughter's future, as all parents should do. Now, what Essence announced on her Facebook page is that she's asking her daughter to pay rent. Now, in January 14th, she said, let me see if I can actually get a link to the actual post. So I can see, it says content's not available right now, so I'm wondering if she just took it down, poor thing. The pressure is probably too much for her, but it's okay. I'm not going to pressure her. I'm gonna actually provide some context into this so we can learn from it. But here's what she said. She said, I explained to her that in the real world, most people spend most of their paycheck on bills with little to spend on themselves. She says, so I make her give me $5 back out of the $7 that she pays her. She gives her $7 a month, and she does to her what? Remember that famous episode of the Cosby Show where Cliff shows Theo how money works? Now, I don't care what Bill Cosby, I'm like D.L. Hughley. Bill Cosby might have done some really messed up stuff, but Heathcliff Huxtable ain't done nothing. Heathcliff Huxtable ain't done none of these allegations. He's a good dude. So I might not love Bill Cosby all the time, but I definitely love Heathcliff Huxtable because Heathcliff Huxtable created one of the greatest shows of all time. So anyway, so he goes in and he's like, he hands him some money. And Theo's like, oh man, I got a lot of money. I got my girlfriend for sure. And he's like, oh, well, you gonna have transportation? He says, yeah, of course. And he takes some money for that. Oh, you gonna have a place to live? He's like, of course I am. He said, okay, so he takes money for that. And next thing you know, and I think at the end he said, so do you plan to have a girlfriend? He said, for sure. And then he took the rest of the money out of his hand. And that was a great lesson. Because I remember when I saw that episode, I was like a teenager at the time. I'm the same age as Theo. So I'm watching this and I'm literally getting a financial lesson from this guy on TV. I'm like, oh, well, wait, yeah, he's right. Ooh, man, a girlfriend, it does cost money to have a girlfriend. And so, anyway, that's what the mother's doing to her daughter. So she's basically giving her $7, and she says she takes $1 for water, $1 for electricity, $1 for rent, $1 for cable, and $1 for food. Now, her daughter has $2 every week that she can spend on herself or use to save. Her daughter's just 5 years old, so $2 a week, ain't terrible, but it is what it is. But the $5 isn't just used for symbolic. Evans is using the money to put aside money for her daughter's future. She says now what she doesn't know is the $5 is actually going away in her savings account, which I will give back to her when she gets older. Let me find, I lost my spot on the page. Okay, when she turns 18, she wrote, so if she decides to move out on her own, she will have $3,380 to start off. This strategy not only prepares your child for the real world, but when they see how much real bills are, they will appreciate you for giving them a huge discount. Now, good parenting or unnecessary anxiety. The Facebook post went viral with several people weighing in on the idea. Some commenters praised her for teaching her daughter responsibility and for her planning ahead for the future, but others weren't so sure about the idea. Quote, my father did that to me. I never complained, but when he died, he left me close to $28,000. I was shocked, said Jim Kolosky. The mother's got the right, somebody else says, the mother's got the right idea about savings, but the wrong approach to instill it. A 5-year-old shouldn't be told she has to pay for basic necessities like shelter and food. This could set the stage for undue anxiety and fears about her security, said Lynn Powell. Look, check it out. Here's the thing. You might think you're doing your child a favor by protecting them from the anxieties that come from not being able to pay the bills on time or having to actually deal with the stress of paying for commitments like food, water, etc. But ask yourself this. How many adults do you know who every day suffer from all kinds of anxiety from the fact that they can't pay their own bills? How many adults do you know who are losing hair, losing sleep, getting sweaty palms, freaking out, stressing out, having sex with somebody they don't even like, all because they are scared to death they can't make the rent or pay the cable bill, pay the water bill, pay the light bill, pay all that stuff? How many people do you know are stuck in nasty financial situations that are literally stressing them to death? If you know anybody in that category, please give an amen. Say something right quick, please. Tell me that I'm not crazy. Now, why does that matter? Well, you got to ask yourself this. Why do you think these people are suffering from unnecessary amounts of anxiety? Why do you think that they're scared to death because they can't pay the rent? Why do you think that girl is tricking it up and sleeping with Thugnificent down the street, some dude she don't even halfway like, because he's dropping a little something on the rent? Why do you think she's feeling that anxiety? It's because nobody prepared her to know how to pay her own bills. Do you think for a second that if her parents at the age of 5 had gone out of their way to teach her financial intelligence at an early age, that she would have to go put a man's genitals in her mouth in order to get her rent paid? Stop it. I'm talking to the grown folks here. Y'all know what's real. Y'all know what's out here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And if you're in that category, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just telling you the real. This is the real for real. Do you know how many people out here are stressed beyond belief because they can't pay the rent? What do? Do you just raise your kids and not talk about it and then just hope for the best? Is that the plan? Is that our plan? Is that our team plan? Like, ready, break. Is that so? Our plan is we're gonna pray to Jesus that everything's gonna be all right and just hope that things don't go wrong. Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that's not a very good plan. Like they say, if you fail to plan, you're doing what? You're planning to fail. If you do not make a plan, then your plan is to be devastated. If you're not prepared, then you have prepared yourself for a lifetime of misery. So I am not in a billion years going to side at all with anybody who thinks that what this mother's doing is wrong. This mother is doing the best she can with what she's got and what she knows, and I applaud you, Essence Evans, 110, 190%. Your little girl is going to avoid a lot of unnecessary, horrible situations because she had a mama that taught her the basics about how to hold her stuff together so she ain't got to depend on some crazy man to do it for her. Do you know how many people are still married to somebody they hate because they're scared that if they get a divorce, they can't pay the bills? Do you know how bad financial abuse can be when somebody says, you better not leave me. You leave me, how you gonna pay for this house? You can't pay for this house. You ain't got no money. Do you know how many people go through that? Is that what you want for your children? Is that what you're hoping your children experience? It ain't fun. It's not fun. Now let me go through, and here's what I want to do to show support to Essence Evans. I want to go through, and I'm going to go through the article again, and I want to tweak what I saw with her approach so we can build off of this and make it a little bit better. I can tell you, my mama used to make me pay rent when I was 14. I didn't like it. She did the best she could based on what she knew. I think it could be done better. And let me give you some examples. This is where my PhD in financial psychology comes into play. So yes, I do know what I'm talking about. So Professor Watkins is about to walk in the building and start breaking this lesson down. Okay, so let's go back through the article. So she said that she gives her daughter $7 a week and takes 5 back for rent and expenses. Now, what this lesson is really is, it's not a lesson so much that's consistent with the real world, right? Most people don't spend 5/7 of their income just paying the rent and the bills per se. A lot of people do, but most people don't spend that much on the rent. And the rent's not proportionate, say, to the water bill and stuff like that. However, this is a good lesson to kind of show what position you can be in if you do sort of leverage yourself to the hilt, right? If you make, say, $3,000 a month and you have expenses that are $2,800 a month, you're what they call over-leveraging yourself to the point where you don't have much wiggle room. So I think it's a great sort of way to kind of show her, like, you know, if you got to pay $5 a month in bills, then you probably want to try to make $15 a month in income. Not that she's making this much per month, but your bills, make your bills maybe half of what your total income is going to be, right? The other thing that she would probably want to tell her daughter is that, you know, paying rent is a great way to waste hundreds of thousands of dollars over a long period of time. Most people who say that they can't afford to buy a house are people who have bought several houses for their landlord. They are people who have given so much money to their landlord because they haven't even thought about or investigated what it might take to actually become a homeowner. So what you're doing is you're literally shoveling money just out the window. You're literally shoveling money out the window, and somebody else, you know, your landlord, who's usually, you know, not a black dude, he's catching this money, and he's catching the seeds that you're throwing out the window, and he's planting those seeds and growing an entire garden. He's taking that money, he's investing that money, and he's buying himself property, he's buying himself assets, he's buying shares of stock, he's buying things with your money that are going to be used to sustain his family. It's going to drain your family and sustain his family. So when you get drained, they're getting sustained. So your drainage is their sustainage. And so the point of the matter is that if you don't understand the basics of economic intelligence at an early age, you getting played in the game and don't even know that you're just a key on the piano. You really don't even understand the whole game at large. So you really just think that the role that you have is okay. And the fact of the matter is that it's really not. So what else would I say to her? Let's go down it further. I really like the idea of taking the money, and she's kind of, I like the way she's going to like just tell her daughter, haha, I got you. Remember I used to make you pay rent when you were 5? Well, you know, guess what I did for you, sweetie? I saved that money for you, and here's a gift for you. I think that's beautiful. Great idea. Way to go, Mom. I love you for doing that. Now, here's what I want you to do, Mom. Number one, don't give that baby all that money at the age of 18. 18-year-olds, I'm speaking for myself, right? I'm telling on myself. 18-year-olds are stupid. I'm sorry, if you're 18 and you're watching, you don't know how stupid, you won't know how dumb you are until you're like 30. Now, you're not totally dumb. Like, if you're smart, like you're going to school, you're doing better things with your life, but don't totally trust everything that you think, because I'm telling you, like, when I was 18, the stuff that I thought made sense, like, I thought I was smarter than everybody. Remember, I was a straight A student in college, so of course I knew everything, right? Now, I look back at stuff I thought, things I did at 21, 22, 24 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking, right? So, you don't give a whole bunch of money to an 18-year-old, because 18-year-olds do crazy stuff like I did. Like I got my first girlfriend when I was 17, and it was like, you know, we discovered this thing called sex, and it was pretty awesome, right? So, you know, I'm thinking I'm in love and all that, and so her car breaks down. My grandma, the one I talk about all the time, who taught me everything about money in the beginning when I was a kid, my grandma gave me a bunch of money, and I got a bunch of money in my birthday at a party, and I took all the money and I used it to fix her car, because her car broke down, and she needed the money. I had it. I wanted to do the right thing, so I paid this money to fix her car. And then she like dumped me like a few months later, right? So 18-year-olds do stuff like that. So really, if you have kids, anybody who has kids, first of all, set your kids up so they have an inheritance. Make sure you got life insurance. You might even go further. Definitely have life insurance and a will. Everybody can do that. You can go to Rocket Lawyer, get you a will. Don't take that. It doesn't take that long. If you don't do it, what's going to happen is the government's going to take a big chunk of that money, and your kids ain't going to get none of that. Or they'll get some of that, but it won't be much, and then everybody will be fighting because they're trying to figure out what you would have wanted when you could have told them what you would wanted, but if you had planned ahead. But you can't talk when you're dead. So when you're dead, somebody's going to take that money, and they're going to do stuff with it that you won't even like, and you'll be rolling over in your grave mad because you can't come back and fix it. Well, now you can fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Life insurance and a will for everybody in this room. Please, 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 you got to do that. Third, if you really want to get funky with it and you really, you apply some of the stuff that we learned here and you got a little bit of wealth piled up, go ahead and get you a trust. Set up a trust. Trusts are powerful. My trust is like going to be my way to talk from the grave. Like I literally am, like I've made videos, all kinds of stuff where I'm like, this is what I want. I want this person to get this. I don't want that person to have that. This person will get this if they complete these conditions, right? Because I know how y'all Negroes are. I'm not going to just release all my hard work. You're not going to ruin everything I've been busting my butt for because you ain't got no financial discipline. So you can get a piece of this because I love you, but you're not going to take all my money and go out and do something stupid with it because that's not how I'm built and that's not what this family's all about. That's what you do with a trust. You can talk from the grave. So I encourage you to consider that, right? So anyway, let me keep going. So anyway, giving money, we concluded, back, I'm going full circle here. We concluded that giving money to an 18-year-old is stupid. Just don't do it. It doesn't work. So I would take that money and save it until she's like 28. She's still young and cute and having fun and living life. So and she's making bigger decisions. She's going to get married. Maybe she needs it for the wedding, although spending a lot of money on a wedding is not a good idea. She needs it to get her first home. Maybe she's got a child, hopefully a child and a husband. But sometimes, the child comes without the husband. I'm not judging. Either way, she's got more stuff and she's a little more mature, right? So release the money at 28. Don't release it at 18. Here's another thing too. Don't just save the money. Like I read Ebony's argument. She says she'll have $3,380, that I'm going to give her as a gift. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great. But here's the thing, though. $3,380 is nothing compared to what you'll have if you invest that money. Now let's explain it. Let me break that down and explain that to you guys so you know what I'm talking about. While I do this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button. Give me some hearts and thumbs up or something to make me feel better. It helps my self-esteem. Because I got so many haters. Like, I need y'all to, repel me against the haters. Because the haters, are so mean. Like there are haters. There are liars out here saying silly stuff like, oh, well, Dr. Boyce recommended that black people invest in BitConnect, and now BitConnect's been proven to be a scam. I'm like, why would you say that? Because I literally was one of the most vocal people ever to say, don't invest in BitConnect. I was literally one of the first people on our crypto group to say that BitConnect is a Ponzi scheme, and I said it at a time where everybody loved BitConnect, and I got a lot of backlash for that. So I'm like, why would somebody be so stupid to think that I said the opposite of what I actually said? That doesn't make any sense, but it just lets you know how much people just want to go out of their way to believe that anything that's good in black must be evil in black, because you must think that black men are just always fundamentally evil and ignorant. But I guess I kind of confuse them because I'm not evil, I'm not stupid, I'm not ignorant, I'm just a dude. So anyway, let me keep going. All right, so here's what I want to show you guys. Okay, so look, all right, so let's say that she takes that $5 a week and she puts it, in an account and just saves it up. Well, that's going to be, like she said, about $3,350 or close to that, so $3,380. You got $3,300. Well, did you know that if she was to take that $5 a week, which is about $20 a month, and put that money in the stock market, if you did this over any 20-year period, and let's assume an annualized rate of return of 10%, actually the stock market has returned a lot more than 10% a year over the last 20 years. I got to double check. I got to find out what the annualized rate is, but it's been insane. The stock market, if you want to know why the gap between the rich and the poor exists, it exists for one fundamental reason. Rich people buy stocks, poor people don't. For whatever reason, it doesn't mean poor people, sometimes poor people just can't afford it, right, at all, right? That's fine. But the problem is that you can't tell me you can't afford to invest when you can afford to go buy Popeye's chicken, when you can afford to go buy Air Jordans, when you can afford to go to the movies, when you can afford to go to the club, when you can afford to go out to eat, when you can afford to go on vacation, when you can afford to spend $50 every 2 weeks getting your hair done, you can afford a $150 wig or weave or whatever it is people wear on their head, you can afford whatever, you can afford to take that new girl out that you just met. Like, if you can afford to do all those things, don't tell me you can't afford to invest. Like, why would Ford be, promoting the new Ford Taurus on BET and making it look stylish and classy if they didn't believe black people were one of the greatest consumers in America when it comes to new cars? We buy new cars like everybody else. So how can a group of people who lead the nation in the purchase of new cars also at the same time lead the nation in the number of people who for some reason claim that they can't afford to invest? It does not compute. It doesn't add up. It's stupid. It's like me saying I'm 7 feet tall, but I'm only 5'2". Like, I can't be both. I gotta be one or the other. I can't be tall and short at the same time, right? So my point is to say that, that's the reason for the wealth gap. Like, if you want to understand how to overcome the wealth gap, how to overcome white supremacy and as far as wealth and all that stuff, in your own way, doesn't, just because black people as a collective are broke doesn't mean you got to be broke. Just because as 40 million of us on average don't have the same money as whites, that doesn't mean you can't have more money than white people. I have more money than most white people I know. A lot of y'all do. So understand that in every statistic there is what they call idiosyncratic variation. Idiosyncratic variation means that just because I'm part of the statistic does not mean that I am a statistic. Just because I'm part of the data doesn't mean that I'm not an individualized data point. I might be part of the collective, but I ain't got nothing to do with nothing that has anything to do with black male anti-intellectualism. You might tell me all day that the average black male over the age of 40 can only read at a 5th grade level. Well, shit, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I cussed again. I know, swear jar. I'm gonna put that down. But seriously, you can't tell me that that statistic has anything to do with me, because that ain't how I live my life. I read everything I can get my hands on. I have more education than pretty much every white person I've ever met. I understand how money works. So understand, the statistics don't define you. So part of the reason I think sometimes we end up not achieving our best objective is that we get caught up in the swirl of negativity that comes with being black and all the stigmas. Black people don't want to read, and black people eating soul food. Well, no, I know black people who are vegans who eat healthy food, who eat healthier than most white people they know. Right? So the statistics only connect to you if you choose for them to connect to you, right? So anyway, let me go back to, so there you go. So that was my point. Investing in the stock market, that's really, the solution to the problem is not complex. What's complex is getting people to change their individual behavior. That's what's complex. The solution ain't complex. You don't need a panel of rocket scientists to figure out what the problem is or how to solve the wealth gap problem. I could write a document on one page in 3 minutes that would solve 80% of the economic problems in the black community if we were to all get on the same page and do the same thing. That's a fact. All right. So she does $5 a week, right? So she said she'd have a little over $3,000 for her daughter, right, by the age of 18. That's beautiful. But did you know that if she were to invest that money instead in the stock market, she would actually have twice as much money? She would have about $6,500 as opposed to the $3,300, right? In fact, the calculations I did were that if she did $5 a week, every week, until her daughter was 18, she would have $3,120. So I got a number that's slightly lower than hers. But the total amount she would have had if she'd invested in the stock market, assuming an annualized rate of return of about 10%, is $6,411. So that means that if she saves instead of invests, what she's done, unfortunately, is she will have thrown in the trash $3,291. She would literally $3,000. Again, we're broke people, right? But we throw money away every day. Most people don't realize how much money we throw away. But we literally would be taking a pile of money and dumping it into the garbage, right? So that's the first thing. Let's say that she took the other part of my advice and didn't give her daughter the money after 13 years when she's 18. She instead waits until she's 28. Well, that $6,411 she would have actually almost quadruples. It goes to $21,488. So by waiting that extra decade, she's literally giving her daughter almost over 3 times more money than she would have gave her by just waiting until she's 13, till she's 18. The secret to investing, this is the thing. This is why it was very easy. A lot of y'all saw the lecture that I did, where I broke down how to make your child into a millionaire. Making a kid into a millionaire is as easy as baking a cake. I swear to God, and I don't swear to God that much, but I swear it is as easy as baking a cake. Why? Is actually time. Time. Kids have all the time in the world. They're nothing but babies. 20 years, is an eternity when it comes to investing. Somebody can literally put a little bit of money out every month, and if they're investing it and letting it grow, in 20 years, that's going to be a lot of money, right? Because out of this $21,488 that her daughter would get, the mother's contribution ain't nothing but $5,520. So her mother literally has only put in $5,520, $20 a month, an amount almost anybody can afford, and the interest is $15,998. So the interest is 3 times more than the principal. The interest is almost like, have you ever heard people talk about artificial intelligence and they talk about how one day we're going to hit the singularity where the computers are going to be smarter than the people and all this other stuff, and the computers are going to overtake the people. Well, interest is kind of like a type of artificial intelligence. At first, in the first 13 years, they're fighting it out, where 13 years later, the amount she puts in is about the same as the amount of interest that she makes, which says a lot, right? That's still a lot of money, right? You doubled your money just from investing it. But if you go to the 23-year mark, the interest dominates the original investment. Why? Well, because interest is like dollar for dollar earning money on top of itself. So you've got your money that's going to earn interest, but then your interest earns interest. So it's like if I have kids, a bunch of kids, yeah, I can have so many kids, but then my kids start having kids, and then my kids' kids start having kids, and before you know it, you've got, say 200 years from now, you've got 100 people that have descended from one particular lineage. One man, one woman, they have 6 kids. Those 6 kids each have 6 kids. That's 36 children in the second generation. If those 36 kids have 6 kids, let's say on average, let's say they all have big families, that's over 200 people. Just in 1, 2, 3 generations down. That's less than 100 years. 200 people coming from one relationship. That's why the population grows so much. When I was talking to Harry Smith yesterday, Will's brother, one thing Harry said that was really interesting is he said back in the 80s, people thought it was a big deal that we had 3 billion people on the planet. He said, everybody talked about, oh my God, we're going to hit 3 billion people. He said, now we're up to almost 8 billion. I said, what, are you kidding? He said, yeah, we're up to 8 billion. And so anyway, my point is to say that interest is the same way. Interest grows like a virus. It literally grows like but the thing is, you got to get your money in there so your money can have a chance to grow. The biggest lie you were told, the most destructive lie that you've ever been told financially is that you don't want to put your money in places where it's going to grow. You've been convinced to not let your money grow, which means you're killing off all of your possibilities. You're killing all your potential when you don't let your money grow. Imagine if you took little LeBron James at the age of 3 and nobody let him grow anymore. Like, think about what a loss that is for, in terms of wealth in the NBA and in terms of his future. What if he was 3 years old and he was the best 3-year-old basketball player in the neighborhood, and he was 4 foot tall, and something shut down where he couldn't grow past 4 feet tall, and he's looking like Emmanuel Lewis for the rest of his life? Like, imagine how horrible that would be to watch and how much of a waste that would be. Well, when it comes to your money is like a little LeBron. Your money's 4 years old, and it's 4 feet tall, and it has all this potential in the world, but some of us, by either spending it or not investing it, we're keeping that money 4 feet tall. We're not letting it grow. We're letting it, maybe it's growing through savings and it's growing linearly, but it's not getting a chance to grow exponentially, which means that it doesn't get a chance to have interest, which interest leads to more interest, which leads to more interest, which allows the growth to be explosive. In fact, I've got the calculator here that I was using to calculate how much money this mother would have for her daughter. Let's say that her mother just said, well, I'm not even going to give her the money at 28. Let's say she just, the daughter's doing good at 28, so she said, you know what, I'm not going to give it to her at 20. I'm going to leave it for when I die, right? And so the mother's got this money, this consistent $20 a month, growing in this investment fund, and it's invested in the stock market, and it's growing consistently at the rate of the stock market. Well, I told you, at the age of 28, she has $21,488 for her daughter. Only $5,520 is the original contribution. $15,998 is money that came out of the sky. That's when they talk about your money working for you, that's what they're talking about, right? So let's say that you go out another decade. Let's say that her mother dies 10 years later, her daughter's 38. So then you go out a total of 33 years. Well, how much money would she have then? So remember, I told you, it was after 13 years is $6,400. After 23 years is $21,000. After 33 years, when her daughter is 38 years old, that $21,000 becomes $62,301, of which $7,920 is the original contribution. $54,381 is the interest. So the amount of the interest is about 7 times greater than the amount of the original contribution, and that's her just doing $20 a month. Now imagine if she did $200 a month. If you did $200 a month, which a lot of people can afford, a lot of y'all pay $200 a month. Some people have paid $200 a month for a cable bill. Some people pay $200 a month to get their hair did. Some people pay $200 a month for a car note. A lot of people pay $200 a month just on entertainment. I've seen people go to the club and drop $200-300 in one visit to the club. So anyway, so imagine if that number had an extra zero on it, then that $62,000 becomes $620,000. Imagine if you had parents that gave you $620,000 and said, this is my gift to you for your 38th birthday. How much would that change your life? That would change everything. That would allow every business idea you had, would allow you to, you could execute it, because you might need $5,000, $10,000, but it's not much when you got $500,000 in the bank, right? Every financial problem that you had, you could solve most of that pretty quickly. Your student loans, you could pay them off. If you want to quit your job, you can quit your job and know that you're good. You can pay off your house. That way, if you quit your job and you start a business, you know that you're at least going to have a place to live, right? So ultimately, my point is to say that everybody in America, and most black people actually have the ability to become millionaire families if you give yourself enough time. You must just give yourself enough time. So if you want to actually pull this off and you want to do some of what I'm saying, let's say you want to have, you want your family to have, I don't know, $1 million somewhere in 30 years. Well, if you want your family to have $1 million in 30 years, here's what you can do very basically based on history. Nobody can predict the future of the stock market, but I can tell you what would happen based on the past. So instead of pretending like this is 2018, I want you to pretend like this is 1968. Go back 50 years and imagine if you applied this plan, say 50 years ago. All right, what you do, if you want your family to have over $1 million, what you can do is this: form a family fund. And in this fund, put at least, say, $400 in this family fund. That means you, cousin Rerun, little Lele, Grandma Jenkins, everybody just, pool together that money, $400 a month. Invest that money, through a diversified portfolio, like say an Acorns, Stash type account, something like that. Whatever it is you want to do, just make sure it's diversified. Don't put all your money in one or two stocks, because that's a good way to get killed. You spread your money out. You always spread your money out. Never put your money in one stock. Never put your money in one type of asset. Put it all across the board. So if you're in real estate, and that's where all your money's at, that's not good. You want to be out of you want to be, in addition to real estate, you want to be in stocks and bonds. In addition to stocks and bonds, you want to be, you want to own some businesses, whatever it is, like diversify. But you diversify that money, $400 a month, based on this math, should get you over $1 million in a 30-year period. And so if you want to do that for your child, if you have a newborn baby and you love that baby and you really want to do right by that baby, see if you can, with your spouse, come together and get $400 a month. Now, that might be a lot of money for some people, so I'm not saying everybody should do it. But remember, $400 a month is what people will spend on a car note. I know a lot of people who will claim they can't invest $400 a month for their child, but they'll go out and drop $400 on a new Cadillac in a minute, right? So my thought is that you should at least do a matching funds program where as much money as you spend on foolishness, you should spend the same amount of money or more on intelligence. So every time you do something ratchet with your money, you match your ratchet dollar with your thoughtful dollar. You match your stupid dollar with your smart dollar. You match your YOLO dollar with your plan for the future dollar, right? So everybody's got some YOLO money. Everybody has stuff that they buy and spend money on that is just not a good investment. I don't know if y'all saw, I put a picture on my Facebook page of this Corvette that I rented, a drop-top Corvette. My significant other was here, and I said, let's just get us a cool car where the top drops, and let's just drive down the California Pacific Highway, or whatever they call it, and have some fun. Pretend like we're a couple of 22-year-olds and ain't got nothing better to do. And the thing was that, it's not what I typically do. I'm not a materialistic guy, but I thought it was fun. I was like, we're getting out of the Chicago weather. It's sunny out here in California. Let's do something fun. And she said, I'm so glad you're doing that, because you're always working and you never do anything fun for yourself. And I do. I admit. I think the thing is that I have fun when I'm working. So that's why I work so much. Not because I enjoy torturing myself. If you like what you do, then it's like you don't need to do other stuff to have fun. If you like your work, you don't have to be other places to enjoy your life, because you can enjoy your life right where you are. That's what I kind of believe. Like, instead of chasing the joy, why not bring the joy home so you have it right in front of you all the time? So anyway, I saw this car and I was thinking about buying it. I'm not going to get it, by the way. I asked you guys if I should get it. I don't think I'm going to buy it, but I don't feel guilty driving it, because I know that for every dollar I spent on stupid money, I'm spending at least $1 on smart money. You understand? So it's like having a balanced diet. It's like good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, right? So just make sure you always balance the two. And then if you do that, then you're going to be fine. There's a good chance you're going to do really well as a family, and you're going to be very happy that you did it. So this mom, that's my advice to the mom is, I would invest that money. Don't give it to her at the age of 18. Also, $7 a week. I would increase that over time, right? Because, you know, when she gets like 12, she's going to be like, what is it, $7 a week? That ain't nothing, right? So she might want $20 a week. Or maybe if you can't afford $20 a week, maybe go ahead and up it to $20 a week. And because all this math I just did was based on $20 a month. Now imagine if that was $20 a week, then what happens is those numbers multiply by 4. So instead of giving her daughter, $62,000 when she's 38, she's now giving her daughter $250,000. Instead of giving her daughter $21,000 at the age of 28, she's giving her daughter $83,000 or $84,000, right? So ultimately, the idea is everybody should invest. Everybody should be investing for their kids. If you love your kids and you want them to be strong, there's a couple of things you need to do. You should make sure that they are financially literate. Do not do what these ignorant people out here are telling you to do. You got people in the media that are not promoting black intelligence. They want black people to be stupid. They want black people to be lost. They want you to constantly be confused and making bad decisions so that you can sit and complain and whine about, how hard things are when the white man puts his foot on your neck. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm like, well, why would you complain about a bad decision that you made yourself? Like, it's one thing if somebody else makes a bad decision and they screw you and you can't unscrew yourself. It's another thing when you're in a bad situation and you could have prevented that bad situation. Like, that doesn't compute for me. That doesn't make much sense, right? By the way, if you're on Instagram, you guys are gonna disappear in a second. But if you go, I'm gonna bring you guys right back so you can just